Alright guys, I'm going to start with a 60% hydration pizza dough you can make at home. Perfect for the home oven. It starts with the water, which really starts with the scale, to be honest. You're going to want to have a digital scale, so you can scale out your half a gram of yeast, 10 grams of sugar, 10 grams of salt, 10 grams of oil. Now we move on to weighing out our water and our flour. So 300 grams of water, on the spot, nice. I'm going to add in my yeast and my sugar. Got a little stir just so I get hydrated. That's fine. And now I'm going to add 500 grams of flour. I do it this way because if I pour too much water at the beginning, I can always pour some out. And if I pour too much flour here, which I didn't, I can always scoop it out and get it back into the bag. Once I have all my flour in, just make kind of a layer. I'm just going to add all my salt. And I'm going to keep my oil to the side for now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my little scraper tool. You can get these at Walmart, that's where I got mine, but it's a dough bowl scraper. Just going to kind of move it around. I want the flour and water to really mix first. Before I add in my oil. So this is a good point where I can add my oil in. I want to try to do a good job to disperse it all the way around the whole dough. Alright. Alright, cool. Once I get to a point where it's somewhat mixed together, basically begin the kneading process. So, your hand kneading, you're going to basically drop it onto the table, even if it's still kind of shaggy. Try to get most of everything out. Once again, your bowl scraper can come in handy for this. And if you're doing a low hydration dough like this at 60%, it takes a good bit of effort to get all that flour absorbed. So the mixing part takes a little longer. You get up to like 63, 64%. It doesn't take that long for the flour to get absorbed. But I like 60% dough, so that's what I'm going to do. So basically what I'm doing is with the palm of my hand, I'm pushing away, coming back, pushing again. You can see right now there's no real gluten development at all. So every time I do that, the dough kind of just breaks. But then I bring it back to myself, I turn it 90 degrees, and I do it again. So once again, what I'm doing is I'm starting with the side away from me, like the very far side. This portion I'm focused on stretching. I'm just pushing away, rolling back. Now this portion I'm focused on stretching. Come back, this portion, and on till you get that last portion. And if you got wet flour spots, try to absorb that dry flour as much as you can. And now that I'm at a mass like this where there's not so much dry flour all over the table and everything, look at the clock, it's 10:57, so at 10:05, 10:06 I'll be done. That's 8 minutes of kneading. I'm just going to kind of keep going. Sometimes I do this too, where I just roll it over, push it out. I'm grabbing kind of the side over here, like 2, 3 o'clock, pushing it down, going in, repeating it. And I give it a 90-degree turn as I do it. That's basically what kneading dough is, in its simplest form. Is trying to stretch the dough out to where it won't stretch anymore. Bringing it back. You're like testing its resistance. That's how you kind of build the gluten. It's really about just keeping it awake and agitating it. But look, you see how it's shaggy and wrinkly? Looks like an old man's ball sack. It's okay. I'm gonna now wait 3 minutes, just like this. This is where I usually clean out my bowl real quick. Alright, beautiful. So, let's have a little bit of time to rest. Since this dough is still low hydration, I don't really need that much. So I'm going to hit it with a little dusting flour just like that. I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to fold into itself basically one rotation of this, so I get it all together. I like to squeeze it together and flip it. And what I'm doing here is I'm basically like, I'm not quite on the bottom of the dough, I'm like just a little bit before it. At 3 o'clock, if this is 12 o'clock, I'm going to go to 12 o'clock and pull back and repeat. And I want it to stick to the table basically as much as possible. And this builds tension on the surface of the dough. You can see it's getting more upright too. And what it also does is smooth out your dough. So you do that a few times. What I like to do as well, additionally, is I like to get my hands like 10 and 2 and have it stuck to the table. It's not really moving, it's slightly stuck. And just do small circles. Turn to 90 degrees, small circles. Both those things will smooth out your dough. So this dough is not perfect by any means, but for pizza, it'll work. And over the time of fermentation and everything, this will smooth out even more. So I'm gonna let that sit for about an hour. So about midnight, it'll be done. In about an hour or so, I'll ball that up. So that's how you make the dough. It's gonna get not a full doubling, but more of a bulk rest than bulk fermentation. Alright, so this dough's been out for about an hour. And it's ready to be rolled. So for this, I know that this makes 3 doughs for a 500 gram batch. So I'm going to try my best to cut it into 3 equal thirds. Kind of just lift it and feel. It's actually pretty accurate, feels like. So when you roll dough, see I got the top of what was a dough ball, I want that to stay the top. So you basically go like this. If you see it, I'm rolling it like a hot dog, but then one of my hands is going to close that together. I'm going to turn it 90 degrees. I'm going to do that again. And again, until it's really close. And it looks like that. Then I'm going to close it, and what I'm basically doing is making a nipple by rubbing the dough against my pointer finger with my thumb. So I get something like that. I can fold it over, and I'm good. So that's too confusing for you. You can also do this. That smooth side, that's the top, put it on the bottom, fold into itself, kind of like when we walk the dough or built the tension. It's the same thing. Turn it over, come back. It's a way to do it on the table. It's just like building tension from before. And you can see it's pretty good. You might want to just fix it like that. Boom. But I like to just go like this because I can do it fast. Beautiful. Alright, so this is about making pizza at home. Right now I'm going to talk about the 60% hydration. It's room temperature now. It should be fully fermented, ready to go. I got 70 underneath. If you notice how it's flatter, that's because the water weighs it down and becomes flatter. That's part of a higher hydration dough. It's really nice dough. I also have an 80% hydration in the fridge I'm going to take out later. You want to make sure you got some dusting flour. You want to make sure you got your peels. I'm going to show you how to use both of these. In the oven, you're going to want a baking stone. I like to turn the light on so I can kind of see the pizza without opening and closing it too much. So I'm going to start by preheating my oven. Normally I cook it like 500, but these ovens don't get 100% as hot as they say. So just go as high as it can go, which is 550 Fahrenheit for me. And I like to turn my fan on high so I don't have the smoke alarm going off. So if it's a little hard to talk, hard to hear, I'll try to be as loud as I can, but I'm gonna need that fan on so I don't have my smoke alarm go off. It's not a bad idea to take your dough out if it's ready from the fridge once you preheat your oven. You're gonna get it to 550 degrees, but you're not gonna immediately make the pizza. You still have to wait an hour from the point it's preheated till the stone is hot enough to use. So I have my dough right here. I have my scraper I'm going to clean off. That's what I'm going to use to get the dough out of here. I have a plastic one somewhere. I prefer that with these trays, but I'm going to use it for the video. You're going to want some dusting flour. You can use just flour if you like, but it's a little harder to move off the peel. My recommendation would be to do a mix of your flour you're using and semolina. You can also use 100% semola, which is a finer grain of semolina. You can use 100% semolina. You can use a mix of cornmeal and flour. And if you're really feeling ballsy, you can do all cornmeal, but I don't really recommend that. So this is the area where I'm going to stretch my pizza, and I'll put on my wood peel here, and I'll just turn around and grab my toppings. I have my sauce in the fridge right now. I'm going to pull it out in a sec. I'm going to use this wood spoon to spread it, and I'll show you how to both make it on a wood peel. I'll show you what happens if it gets stuck when you're making the pizza, the best way to fix that, and I'll show you making on the table and sliding it onto the metal perforated peel. Alright. So, now I got my 60 hydration dough. That's ready to go. I'm going to show you 2 ways to make a pizza. One is with a wooden peel, one is with a metal perforated peel. So when you're using a wooden peel, it's a little easier in a sense. But you want to lightly flour your dough. Lightly flour your spatula. You got to do this less and less the more you get used to your dough, basically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get under it. I'm going to pop it up, slide down on there like that. So once again, flour the top a little bit, rub it in. I'm going to push the air to the outside, like so. Now I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing. And now, like in my New York stretching video, on my 3-step part of that, I'm going to basically form a crust. So I want my crust to be about the size of my pinky, so if you see that, I'm just going to push in. My hands are perpendicular to each other, not with way too much force, but a decent bit, enough to kind of feel the table. I'm going to turn it, I'm going to do that until it gets awkward like that. Then I turn it, and I go all the way around. And if you want to get more flour underneath it, just flip it on your hand, throw a little more flour on your table. So now, stretching, this hand right here is going to stay still while this hand stretches and turns like 45 degrees. Now that spot right there is where my hand's going to move to. I'm going to stretch that, turn 45 degrees, repeat. Now I'm focused on that outside edge of the dough. The middle will stretch itself. This is for more of the thin crust style of New York pizza. So then, for table stretching, you see that droopy part right here, that's going to go to my left hand, which is on your right. This is my left hand. And I'm just going to go like that. And it might help you to just do it slowly like that, which works perfectly. You can also slap it, which is where you go like that. Doop, 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 doop. And when you set it down, you're going to set it down like that. So I'm going to do this one on a wooden peel. So I'm going to pick it up. Whenever you pick up a dough that's stretched, pick it up like this. So you're not stretching the middle, you're just stretching the sides. Grab my wooden peel. You want to make sure you have everything ready to go, your sauce, your cheese, everything. I'm going to flour my peel pretty generously. And I'm going to give a couple spoonfuls of sauce here. 1 and 2. I'm going to try to spread it as evenly as I can. I have a very chunky sauce here from my pizza napoletana. A New York pizza sauce is a lot thinner than this usually, which I will make a video of making good New York sauce, good napoletana sauce, and everything. So it shouldn't be full of sauce, it shouldn't be a full layer of bread. It should look something like that. Next thing, I'm still going to do a quote margarita pizza. That's my favorite pizza personally. That or a plain cheese, but I don't have shredded mozzarella, so this is what I'm going with today. So basil leaves underneath. I like them cooked onto the pizza personally, more than added as a garnish later. I get my Parmesan Reggiano. It's nothing fancy. It's not good Parmesan, but it's Parmesan. I get my Fiori Latte mozzarella. Spread it as evenly as I can. You don't want too thick of a layer, you don't want too thin. You want to try to cover your basil so it doesn't burn in the oven. Olive oil. And then you want to make sure your pizza shakes. If it shakes, you can slide it into the oven, which I'm about to do right. Alright, so now I'm going to show you guys another method of stretching I haven't showed you on the stretching video. This is how they do it in Naples for the most part. So flour the dough, flour your spatula. Put my flour bowl here so you guys can see what I do. I get under it, I lift it up, fold it over. So I'm going to flour both sides, just like that. Flour the top. This way, you're going to push the air to the outside once again. You're going to flip it. You're going to do the same thing another time. You have the option to do it again. So now, what you're going to do is see these 3 fingers, how they're on that line of the crust? On the other hand, I'm going to get a grip of that crust, and I'm going to stretch and fold over my hand and throw it. So I did a 90-degree turn. I went from here to there. I'm going to do it again and again. And that's where you can slap. You can do this, or you can do it real slow. You can also stretch hanging off the table to use gravity to your advantage too. So once again, I'm going to sauce it. 1 scoop, 2 scoops. Spread it nice and even. It's chunky, so it's hard to get it perfect. But that's beautiful. Next thing is my basil. Grab a few leaves of basil. Parmesan. Grande Fiordi Latte fresh mozzarella. Last but not least, olive oil. Now I'm going to get my metal perforated peel. Good to flour a little bit. You can let it hover in the oven for a sec to get rid of even more moisture. What you're going to do, you're going to want a downward slope like this. You're going to want to lightly pinch the dough or pick it up and go underneath it. Make sure it can shake. You can also stretch it to make it even bigger on here. Make sure it continues to shake. And launch your pizza. Show you. Pizza can use a spin now. How to get your pizza out, have a downward slope to get under it. And once it moves a little bit, you're good to go all the way under. If you grab your pizza and just spin it 180 degrees, you're good. And you want to do that a little more than halfway through. You don't want to do it right at the halfway mark. You want to make sure the dough is done cooking for the most part, so that it doesn't deflate if you have to take it out of the oven to spin it. Alright, this pizza is ready to come out of the oven. Oh, nice. Look at that. That's a beautiful pizza. That looks like we cook it in our restaurant. That is fucking gorgeous. Beautiful undercarriage. I'm gonna grab the camera. I'm gonna show you that. Look at that pizza. That is freaking gorgeous. Look at that. It's not black, but it's nice and dark brown. See how I pick it up and it doesn't even bend? That's a freaking pizza. Alright, so now it's time to spin the pizza. We're about 70% of the way through. A little more actually. Boom. Need about another minute or two and it's done. Alright, this pizza's good to go. Look at that. That's a thing of beauty. Oh, that's crispy. Beautiful undercarriage. I'm going to show you that again. Look at that. Nice and dark, but not burnt. See how I pick it up, doesn't bend? That's what you want. So when the sauce is right, that's kind of the amount of flop when you hold it straight that you want to see. New York pizza has a dense crumb like that at 60% hydration. That's what you're looking for. When you fold it, it should stay good. That reminds me of home. It's fucking amazing. So here's that pizza I stretched in the Napolitana method. You can see it's kind of dense over there. A little bit over here. Got some nice structure. If you look at that, it's beautiful. It's kind of dense, but what would you expect for 60? But that's still a freaking phenomenal pizza. Look at that. There's slight flop, but just like New York. Hold it straight up. You can see that undercarriage, real nice. Just such a wonderful pizza.